So yeah, it's not really like I'm trying to preach a certain message. It's just that I talk about these issues because they mean something to me. That's all. It's really that much.
So what really, is there some specific, something which you see, or something which is some incident which you've seen, or there would be something which would be.
I mean, all the time, and this is not even specific to India, I see it all over the world when I travel as well, I was in LA recently, and, being in a club in LA at night is like a meat market. You get grabbed in every direction. So it's really got nothing to do with just, it's an ownership of women that we've faced in our society, where we objectify women in our advertising in many ways, and I think that I'm guilty of it. I'm part of it. I'm part of, like, for example, when I do a cover for a magazine, I have like 6 people around me making sure I look perfect. Nobody looks like that on a daily basis. But we're raising this expectation for women to be a certain way, and all I'm saying is that there's nothing wrong with a woman being beautiful, but there is other aspects to her, and she can have other angles. There can be days where she doesn't want to dress up, where she can be in overalls and no makeup, and that's all right, and she can be accepted for that too. So the multifacetedness of women is all I want to present. Because we see a woman in a bikini, we think she can't talk about feminism. Or we see a woman in a NGO kurta and she's an auntie type, she can't be sexy. So we just box women into categories, and I'm saying that a woman can be all these things together. She can be a sexy woman, she can be a mother, she can be a daughter, she can be so many different things.
I think we've got that. Yeah. You run a fashion platform. No, you run a clothing line, right? Okay. So, do you think it's really important for women in India to become independent financially? Do you think that would help?
I think financial independence is a great start, because once you have heads of companies and heads of businesses led by women as well, you're going to get concepts which change. Whether that's in advertising, if you have heads of advertising companies who are women, they're going to say, hang on, I don't think that's very representational of reality. Why don't we introduce this? So, and for that, it starts at the basic point and level where women and men get paid the same amount, right? So I've talked about this, that if you're doing the same job as a man, you get paid the same amount. And it's also about what jobs you can and can't do. We grow up with the idea that a woman can't play football or can't be a scientist, or very few women go into those categories. And it's nurturing, because I remember there was this ad, I don't know, what was it, for Whisper or something? I can't remember. But anyway, it was an ad where they made these little 5-year-old girls run, and they said, run like a girl. Okay, and then they told these 16-year-old girls, to do the same thing. And so the 5-year-old girls were running like crazy, like with their heart out, and the 16-year-old girls were running like la-di-da, So they had been taught that this is what it means to run like a girl. But if you're not taught that, then you run how you run. So it's just about that gender stereotyping, which we put pressure on guys too. A guy can't like pink, a guy should play with Lego and not Barbies, and it starts from a young age. So if we are not afraid of those gender stereotyping, if we start to make it neutral, we allow kids to find their own way and their own paths, and I think that's really important.
It's really important, but mostly in India, girls face opposition from their loved ones. Like, you have a father probably not allowing her girl child to, say, go out for a walk at night.
Yeah, which is completely fair on the father's part to not let his daughter go out at night because it's not safe. I mean, we have to be sensible. When I go to, a rural part of India, I'm not going to dress in a bikini top and, shorts. It just doesn't make sense because people are not exposed to that, and there's very conservative ideas that still run in our country. So absolutely, that's what I mean. We can't blame the older generation for being the way they are. They have grown up with a certain idea of things. It is small steps. It is by constantly bringing up the conversation, not one magic video that's going to go viral and change everything. We've got to make those videos every week. The people have got to contribute to it in their field of work. Whatever it is that you do, if you can speak about it in the smallest injustices that there might be, whether it's sexism in the office or, just, being stared at when you're at a bus stop, or all these things, if you face up to those things, in some way or the other, speak about it, then I think it just adds to the change.
So in your interview with Times of India, you said that things are changing. But then you also said that someone told you that, no, if you're not Priyanka Chopra, you're not going to be paid like your male colleague. So in your experience, where do you think, in your industry specifically, do you think the change is fast enough? Or do you think there needs to be more done for things to change? What is the scenario?
It's a tough one. Like, I'm really proud of what Priyanka Chopra has achieved, the way she's gone. She's gone from winning awards and things in this country to going abroad and being recognized globally. She's a real sort of powerhouse of women, and she's she does it unapologetically. She's not trying to be a certain stereotype of a perfect woman. She's who she is, and I think that's really fantastic. I think that we do have a long way to go. It's also, you can't just simply blame the industry for not paying women the same as men, because it's also our audience who have grown up around an idea of heroism, male heroism and macho-ness, and so they're demanding that from their films, right? So they want to see the hero rip off his shirt and save the helpless damsel in distress, and so while those stories are still continuing, you are going to be a sidekick. You are going to be paid less because you are not the hero of the film. When you see a Piku where Deepika is the hero of the film and Queen where Kangana is the hero of the film, then you can expect wages to start being equal, because the concept of equality is starting to seep into the storyline itself. So it's it needs to start from that. That's why I keep saying about education, and education starts with boys and girls sitting next to each other in class and discussing topics together. It has to be a mental amalgamation. It has to be the two of them discussing and growing up together, before we can talk about, this is how much we need to get paid and things like that.
Right. So we're a platform for working women, right? So we've taken a survey amongst our 20,000 subscribers. These are women who are working, they're well educated, and about 60% of such women living in metro cities admit to the fact that they got married because their families told them that you're incomplete without marriage, although they were educated and they're earning well. What do you feel is...
there is that.
Do you think marriage is overrated?
I think the idea of marriage as well as children is a huge pressure on women. First it's marriage, then it's like, oh, you're not complete if you don't have children. And although I think that having a child is an incredible experience, I hope I one day get the chance to do that. But at the same time, it's not a must. And yet there's a lot of social pressure to get married and have kids. And again, marriage, I do think is it's a social construct to try and keep a family together, but it also comes from keeping the ownership of the woman, right? It was introduced in order to also protect the woman and the child, so that if the man disappeared, there was somewhat, there's some idea of concept of family that would keep her in a safe environment. But now that women are working and self-reliant and independent, if they don't want to get married, I think it's a completely valid point. And it's very possible for two people also to have a partnership or even have a family without being married, although that's a concept which is completely unheard of and not really accepted at least in commercial society in India. So I don't think there's anything wrong with marriage. I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman wanting to work and be married and have kids if she wants to. But it's this expectation of a woman to become a superwoman. She must go home, cook, take the kid to school, go to work, come back, like make sure everything's sorted at home and in the office. So she's become a superwoman because we still haven't got the idea of a man being a houseman, a house husband, I guess. So I think it's about sharing those responsibilities. It'd be great to introduce paternity leave. I think, just like you have, of course, the mother needs maternity leave when she's giving birth and all of that. But after a certain point, why doesn't the father take over for a while? So that balance would be fantastic to see in society.